The bright lights of the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio buzzed like a swarm of angry bees. Karoline Leavitt stood backstage, her fingers trembling as she adjusted the sleek silver bracelet on her wrist. The device, no larger than a watch, hummed softly, a sound only she could hear. It was called Echolink, and in less than 5 minutes she'd demonstrate it to the world. Her stomach churned. This was her chance to prove that sharing emotions and memories through holograms wasn't just science fiction, it was the future. 30 seconds, a stagehand mouthed, pointing at his wrist. Karoline nodded, her throat dry. She'd practiced this moment 100 times in front of her bathroom mirror, but nothing compared to the real thing. The audience's muffled laughter and chatter seeped through the curtain. On stage, host Alex Carter's voice boomed. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's next guest is a brilliant mind who's about to blow your socks off. Karoline Leavitt." The curtain rose. Karoline stepped into the glare of the spotlights, her black boots clicking against the polished floor. The studio erupted in applause, but all she heard was the rush of her own heartbeat. Alex grinned, waving her to the couch. "Karoline, welcome. Now, I've been told you've got something mind-blowing to show us?" She forced a smile. "That's the plan." The camera zoomed in as she lifted her wrist. "This is Echolink. It translates neural signals into holographic projections. Think of it as a window into someone's thoughts." Alex leaned forward, intrigued. "So, if I put this on, you could see my memories?" "Not just see them. Experience them." "But don't worry," she added quickly. "I'll only project what you choose to share." The audience chuckled. Alex rolled up his sleeve. "Let's do it." Karoline's fingers fumbled with the clasp. "Steady," she told herself. The bracelet snapped into place. A tiny blue light flickered to life. Just think of something simple. A memory, a feeling. Anything. Alex closed his eyes. A second later, a shimmering hologram bloomed above his wrist, a golden retriever chasing a frisbee. The crowd oohed. "That's my dog, Mabel," Alex laughed. "She's a menace, but I love her." Karoline exhaled. So far, so good. "Now," she said, "let's try something bigger. Alex, think of your favorite joke." He smirked. "Oh, I've got a lot of those." The hologram shifted, a swirling mass of colors, and then froze. Karoline's smile faltered. This wasn't part of the script. "Alex?" The device emitted a high-pitched whine. Alex winced, clutching his temple. "What the—" Before he could finish, the hologram erupted. A grotesque caricature of Alex's face twisted into a sneer, screaming in a distorted voice, "Suckers! You're all suckers!" The studio fell silent. Karoline's blood turned to ice. That wasn't Alex's memory. It was his thought. A private, unfiltered jab at the audience he'd muttered earlier that week. Someone had hacked Echolink. Security guards swarmed the stage. Karoline tried to explain, but her voice was drowned out by the crowd's jeers. Rough hands yanked her away. As she was dragged past the cameras, she locked eyes with Alex. His face was pale, his earlier charm replaced by raw fury. Backstage, a production assistant shoved her into a hallway. "You're done here." Karoline stumbled into the parking lot, her vision blurred. Her phone buzzed relentlessly. Messages from her boss, her friends, strangers calling her a fraud. She opened one last notification. A video of the incident already trending. The comments were brutal. "Karoline Leavitt is finished. Never trust a scientist with a gimmick." A car screeched to a halt beside her. The window rolled down, revealing a woman with neon green hair and a smirk. "Need a ride, Doc?" Karoline hesitated. "Who are you?" "Samira. Friend of a friend." She tossed a burner phone into Karoline's lap. "You've got 10 seconds to get in before Nova Dynamics tracks that thing." Karoline's breath hitched. Nova Dynamics, the tech giant that had tried to buy Echolink months ago. She'd refused. Now this. As the car sped into the night, Karoline replayed the disaster in her mind. There'd been a glitch in the code, a flicker of foreign data. Someone had wanted her humiliated. But why? Her phone beeped. A single text glowed on the screen. "They're watching. Run." Karoline leaned back, tears stinging her eyes. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. The car smelled like burnt coffee and old circuitry. Karoline clutched the burner phone, her reflection flickering in the dark window. Los Angeles blurred past. Neon signs, hover cabs, billboards shouting about Nova Dynamics' latest revolutionary tech. Samira drove in silence, her neon green hair glowing under streetlights. "Where are you taking me?" Karoline finally asked. "A place even Nova's drones can't find." Samira's voice was sharp, unreadable. "You're lucky I like underdogs." They parked in a gritty alley behind a boarded-up warehouse. Samira led her through a rusted door down a staircase lit by flickering LEDs. The basement hummed with activity. Dozens of screens lined the walls, their glow illuminating a crowd of hackers typing furiously. A banner above them read, "The Grid." "Welcome to the Resistance," Samira said, tossing Karoline a hoodie. "Cover your face. Cameras everywhere." Karoline pulled the hood up, her mind racing. A man with a prosthetic arm limped toward them. "You're the Echo Link girl?" he asked. His name was Ryan, a former Nova engineer. His eyes were bloodshot, his voice bitter. "They've been scrubbing your name online for hours. Fake articles, deepfakes, you're public enemy #1. Karoline sank into a chair. "Why? I didn't do anything." Ryan pulled up a hologram, a news clip of Victor Hale, Nova's CEO, calling her invention dangerous. "They're gaslighting the planet, but this isn't about you. It's about this." He tapped a file labeled Project Pandora. Karoline's blood ran cold. "That's my research." "Not anymore." Ryan expanded the file. Blueprints, emails, voice memos spilled into the air. Nova had stolen her tech, twisted it into something darker. Emotion manipulation chips, memory erasing weapons. "They wanted your prototype to mass produce this. When you said no, they panicked." A hacker named Jinx interrupted, waving a tablet. "Nova's tracing your old phone. They'll find us in 10 minutes, Samira cursed. "Move! Everyone wipe the servers." Chaos erupted. Karoline froze, staring at the Project Pandora files. A voice memo played, Victor Hale's smug tone. "If Leavitt won't cooperate, we'll discredit her. Let the world see her as a fraud." "Karoline!" Ryan grabbed her arm. "We need to go. Now." They bolted for the exit just as the ceiling exploded. Drones swarmed in, firing tasers. Samira shoved Karoline into a hidden tunnel. "Take the data," she yelled, tossing her a drive. "Meet us at the old subway station. Ryan, go." Karoline ran, the drive burning in her hand. Behind her, Samira's scream cut short. The subway station was abandoned, its walls covered in graffiti. Ryan paced, bleeding from a gash on his forehead. "Samira's captured," he muttered. "They'll torture her to find us." Karoline slumped against a pillar, numb. "Why are you helping me?" Ryan's eyes softened. "Nova fired me when I questioned Project Pandora. They said I was too emotional." He snorted. "Guess they meant human." A train screeched into the station, its lights blinding. Karoline squinted. Inside stood a figure in a Nova Dynamics uniform. Ryan cursed, pulling a gun. "Wait!" Karoline shouted. The figure raised their hands. It was a woman, her face bruised. "I'm with Samira," she panted. "They're torturing her at the Nova Tower. We have to—" A drone spotlight pierced the darkness. Ryan fired, shattering the window. "Go! I'll hold them off." Karoline hesitated. "Go!" Ryan roared. She ran, the woman close behind. As the train sped away, an explosion rocked the platform. Karoline didn't look. Back hours later, she crouched in a derelict apartment, the drive clutched to her chest. The woman, Lena, a grid recruit, bandaged her wounds. "Samira's alive," she said, "but they'll kill her if we don't act." Karoline stared at the drive. Inside were secrets that could topple Nova. But without Samira's hacking, Skills exposing them was impossible. A message pinged on Lena's phone. They're broadcasting your confession tonight. Hale's spinning it as a terrorist plot. Karoline's hands shook. What do we do? Lena smirked. What you do best, make a scene. That night, Karoline hacked into a public billboard near Nova's headquarters. The screen flickered, then displayed her face. This is Karoline Leavitt, she said, her voice steady. Nova Dynamics sabotaged my tech to control your minds. They're lying to you. The feed cut. A Nova spokesperson appeared, calling her unstable. But it was too late. Across the city, protests erupted. Free Karoline trended. Karoline leaned back, exhausted. It wasn't a victory, but it was a start. Lena squeezed her shoulder. Phase 1 done. Now, we save Samira. Karoline nodded. The drive felt heavier now. Not a burden, but a weapon. They'd fight. They'd win, or they'd die trying. Karoline adjusted her stolen janitor's uniform, the Echo-Link drive burning in her pocket. Lena crouched beside her in the shadow of Nova's towering headquarters, its glass walls reflecting the midnight sky. Security sweeps every 20 minutes, Lena whispered. We've got 9 minutes to reach the service entrance. Karoline nodded, her throat tight. They'd spent hours studying blueprints, but nothing prepared her for the reality. The drones circling the building, the guards with neural disruptors, the faint hum of Project Pandora's servers deep underground. Lena gestured to a maintenance hatch. Ryan's looping the cameras. Move. They slipped inside, the smell of antiseptic and metal stinging Karoline's nose. The halls were eerily quiet, lit by pulsing blue lights. Karoline's Echo-Link bracelet buzzed, a glitch. She stifled a curse. The last thing they needed was a malfunction. A guard rounded the corner. Lena reacted instantly, pressing a device to the wall. A hologram of a maintenance bot flickered to life, cleaning the floor. The guard grunted and walked past. Too close. Karoline breathed. Focus, Lena hissed. Lab B12, that's where they're holding her. They descended a stairwell into the basement. The air grew colder. Karoline's stomach churned as they passed a row of sealed doors. Testing Chamber 7. Neural calibration, each marked with Nova's logo. A scream echoed down the hall. Samira. Karoline broke into a run. Lena grabbed her arm. Wait, there's motion sensors. Too late. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Go! Lena shouted, firing a small EMP grenade. The lights died. Karoline sprinted toward the sound, her bracelet sparking. She skidded to a halt at Lab B12. The door was locked, but a holographic keypad glowed. I can bypass it, she said, plugging the Echo-Link drive into the panel. Hurry, Lena muttered, covering the hallway. The drive whirred. Numbers flickered. Access denied. Karoline! Lena's voice cracked. Guards were coming. Karoline slammed her palm on the keypad. Why isn't it working? Then she saw it. A tiny camera in the corner. Watching. Lena, get ready. Karoline activated Echo-Link, projecting a hologram of Victor Hale into the hall. The guards froze, confused. Lena shot out the camera. The door clicked open. Inside, Samira was strapped to a chair, her neon hair dull, her face swollen. Wires snaked from her temples to a machine labeled Pandora Interface. You're late, Samira croaked. Karoline yanked the wires free. We're leaving, a voice boomed, over the intercom. Leavitt, surrender, or your friend dies. Karoline froze. Victor Hale. Lena helped Samira to her feet. We need to move, now. They limped into the hall, straight into a squad of guards. Lena tossed a smoke grenade. Run! Karoline's bracelet buzzed violently. The Echo-Link drive overheated, projecting chaotic holograms, a storm of memories, faces, code. The guards hesitated, disoriented. Keep going. Samira snapped, half-conscious. They ducked into a ventilation shaft, crawling through darkness. Karoline's hands scraped against metal. Behind them, the guards' shouts faded. Finally, they emerged in a loading bay. A delivery truck idled near the exit. Ryan stood behind the wheel, his injured arm bandaged. Took you long enough? Karoline collapsed into the passenger seat. "Drive!" As the truck sped into the night, Samira passed out cold. Ryan glanced at Karoline. "Did you get the data?" She patted the drive. Every dirty secret Nova's got, but her victory was short-lived. A news alert blared on the truck's radio. CEO Victor Hale announces a global rollout of emotion-enhancing tech. A new era of human connection, he claims. Karoline's stomach dropped. Nova wasn't just weaponizing memories, they were selling the lie to the world. Samira stirred, her voice weak. "We need to expose him on his stage." Karoline nodded. "Jimmy Kimmel's show. He owes me a redo." Ryan smirked. "Then let's crash the party." The truck merged onto the highway, headlights cutting through the dark. The fight wasn't over, it was just getting started. The Jimmy Kimmel Live studio was quieter this time. No cheering crowd, no flashing cameras, just a skeleton crew preparing for the next day's broadcast. Karoline crouched in the rafters, her black outfit blending into the shadows. Below her, Victor Hale stood on stage rehearsing his speech about Nova's emotion-enhancing tech. His voice dripped with fake sincerity. "A brighter future," he boomed, "where pain is erased and joy is shared by all." Karoline clenched her fists. Beside her, Samira adjusted the hacked control panel, her neon hair tucked under a cap. "Cameras are looped," she whispered. "We've got 10 minutes before security notices." Ryan and Lena waited in the wings, ready to trigger the EMP that would disable the building's power. Karoline's Echo Link bracelet pulsed on her wrist, now loaded with Project Pandora's data. One press of a button, and Hale's crimes would be broadcast worldwide. But first, she needed him live. "Alex Carter's on his way," Lena murmured through the comms. "Hale's doing the interview in 5. Karoline nodded. Her plan hinged on timing. As Hale wrapped rehearsal, she rappelled down to the stage, landing silently behind the curtain. The guard at the door never saw her coming. A quick jab with a neural disruptor and he crumpled. "Clear," she whispered. Ryan and Lena slipped in, rigging the studio with transmitters. Karoline's heart raced. This was it. The show started. Alex Carter, unaware of the chaos backstage, grinned at the camera. Tonight, a man with a vision for tomorrow, Nova Dynamics CEO Victor Hale. Hale strode on stage, waving to the virtual audience. "Alex, always a pleasure." Karoline's cue. She activated the transmitters. Every screen in the studio flickered, then displayed a single message. The truth about Nova. Hale froze. "What is this?" "Hello, Victor," Karoline said. Stepping into the light, the cameras zoomed in. "Security," Hale barked. But Ryan cut the power. Emergency lights bathed the studio in red. Lena locked the doors. "Your move." Samira's voice crackled over the speakers, looping Hale's earlier words. "If Leavitt won't cooperate, we'll discredit her." Hale paled. "This is a farce." Karoline advanced, Echo Link glowing. "No. This is your confession." She pressed the button. The holograms erupted. Emails, voice memos, footage of Project Pandora's victims. Hale's face twisted as the world watched him order sabotage, blackmail, torture. "Turn it off," he roared, lunging at Karoline. She sidestepped, slamming his hand into the Echo Link interface. The device whined, then projected Hale's own memories, a storm of greed, fear, guilt. The audience gasped as his darkest secrets played like a movie, bribing officials, erasing rivals, laughing as Samira screamed in the lab. Alex Carter stared, horrified. "Victor, how could you?" Hale collapsed, trembling. I did it. For progress." "Progress," Karolina snapped. "You're a monster." The studio doors burst open. Police swarmed in, cuffing Hale. Reporters flooded the stage, shouting questions. Karoline stepped back, exhausted. The holograms faded. Alex turned to the camera, voice unsteady. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've all seen the truth tonight." Outside, the streets erupted. Crowds chanted Karoline's name. Nova's stock crashed. Project Pandora was shut down. Ryan clapped her on the back. You did it, Karoline shook her head. We did it, Samira smirked. Next time pick a less dramatic exit. But Karoline's smile faded as she watched Hale being dragged away. Justice felt hollow. Too many lives lost. Too much damage done. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. The grid remembers. She glanced at her team. They'd survived. For now, that was enough. The sun rose over LA, painting the sky gold. Karoline took a deep breath. The fight wasn't over. But today, hope felt possible. 2 weeks after the scandal, Los Angeles felt different. The streets buzzed with protests turned celebrations. Nova Dynamics headquarters was now a graffiti-covered monument to corporate greed. Karoline stood on a rooftop overlooking the city, the Echolink bracelet loose on her wrist. It was lighter somehow, as if the weight of the world had lifted. Samira leaned against the railing, her neon hair back in full force. You're a hero, you know. Karoline snorted. I'm just a girl who broke a few laws. A girl who saved millions. Ryan corrected, joining them. His prosthetic arm gleamed in the sun. Nova's shareholders are fleeing. Project Pandora's data is gone, and Hale? He's facing life in prison. Lena tossed Karoline a soda. You've got a meeting with the mayor tomorrow. City wants to fund your research. Karoline sipped the drink, her hands still shaking. I don't want funding, I want accountability, no more secrets. Then rebuild Echolink, Samira said. Make it open source. Let the world see how it works. Karoline smiled. That was the plan. The grid's new headquarters, a repurposed library, was chaos. Coders debated over holograms. Activists drafted ethics manifestos, and artists painted murals of Karoline's face on the walls. She wandered through the crowd, answering questions, sharing ideas. For the first time, her tech wasn't a weapon. It was a tool for healing. A teenager approached her, eyes wide. Can Echolink help my brother? He's got PTSD. Karoline knelt. That's what we're working on. Imagine sharing a memory of a good day or blocking a nightmare, but it'll take time. The girl hugged her. Thank you. Karoline blinked back tears. This was why she'd fought. That night, she returned to the Jimmy Kimmel stage, not as a fugitive, but as a guest of honor. Alex Carter greeted her with a handshake and a joke. Try not to hack my brain this time. The audience laughed. Karoline grinned. No promises. When the cameras rolled, she didn't mince words. Nova tried to turn emotions into a weapon, but feelings aren't data to exploit. They're what make us human. She lifted her wrist. This isn't about control, it's about connection. After the show, Alex pulled her aside. You've got a future here. Host your own segment. Educate people. Karoline shook her head. My place is in the lab, but maybe I'll guest host occasionally. Months passed. The grid launched Echolink 2.0, a free open-source platform for mental health support. Karoline toured schools, teaching kids to code and question authority. Ryan became her lead engineer. Samira ran cybersecurity. Lena organized global protests against tech monopolies. One evening, Karoline received a message from an unknown number. They're gone. All charges dropped. Thank you. It was from a mother whose son had been freed from a Nova rehab facility. Karoline saved the message. It was the only thank you she needed. The story ended where it began, a rooftop, sunset painting the sky orange. Karoline handed Echolink blueprints to a shy teenager named Maya. Your turn, she said. Build something better. Maya's eyes lit up. I will. As the girl ran off, Samira nudged Karoline. Proud? Karoline nodded, terrified, but hopeful. Below them, the city pulsed with life, a trillion stories, a billion dreams. None of them perfect. All of them worth fighting for. And somewhere, a new generation logged onto the grid, ready to try.